Yeah.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going really well. I was
It's-
just chilling out reading my book.
A complete coincidence that I saw you here. You know, I've been meaning to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Do you mind if we...
Sure, go ahead.
Cool. So when did you come to Fontbonne?
Well, I came to Fontbonne, that was a while ago. About 10 years ago, I was in the program here at Fontbonne in the Communication Disorders program and graduated from the program, and then went off into the wild blue yonder and worked doing all kinds of different speechy, languagey stuff. So school district work and hospital rehab work, and then I got a call saying there was an opening here, and I totally wanted to come back because this is home.
Aw, that's great. And what does your job look like day to day?
Day to day, so most of the time I spend the day supervising graduate students who are providing therapy in the clinic. And then the rest of my time is spent teaching CDS 300 clinical methods to undergraduate students, and then that's in the fall, and then in the spring I teach the senior seminar for undergraduates.
Wow. So it changes day to day.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And what is your favorite part about the Fontbonne community?
My favorite part about the Fontbonne community is that it is family, that we are all so close, all of the faculty and the students were always concerned about each other, making sure that everybody has what they need and everybody can be as successful as they possibly can be.
What do you like most about working with graduate students?
In comparison to working with middle schoolers, they don't talk back as much. No, I'm just kidding. I actually really like it kind of ties to an article I read a while back about as you grow older and you reach a certain age, you no longer derive the same satisfaction from the job you have because you're at a point where you want to teach others and instruct others how to do that job. And I had reached that point in my career, and so here I get that opportunity to do that. I get to teach other people how to do what I know to do, and that's amazing.
That is amazing. If you had to give advice for people applying to grad school, what would it be?
I would have to say, be aware of what works for you. If a small family kind of environment with less students is something that really speaks to you, then that's the kind of university you want to be looking at. When I did my undergrad, I started in a small university, and I realized I needed anonymity for that period in my life. So I transferred to a larger public university, and that helped. That made all the difference for me. But when I went to grad school, it was very clear that I needed a smaller program. So both master's degrees that I have were from smaller programs for sociology, and then also here.
I think I've definitely benefited from the smaller program atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Fontbonne. What sparked your interest in speech pathology?
So when I lived in Illinois, and I had my master's degree in sociology. I was working as a coordinator for the early intervention program in Illinois. So I authorized the speech language pathologists, the developmental therapists, the OTs, PTs. I authorized all of those people to get paid to do their evaluations and their therapy. And I got to observe an SLP. He went by the name Q. He kind of showed me exactly the things that he did during therapy and explained why, and I just thought it was the neatest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I had actually looked at speech path programs, and we're talking, this is about 12, 15 years ago maybe, and Fontbonne was the number one on my list, and I had actually filled out the app. This was back when you couldn't apply online. that tells you how old I am right now. So But I filled out the actual paper application, but never sent it in.
Oh no.
And then My partner at the time decided to go to law school in California. We moved to California, worked there in social work, and then we decided law school was not the place to be, and California was not the place to be for us. Too expensive, way too expensive. So we moved back here, and when we got back here, then I was like, wait a minute, I'm right here, and Fontbonne's right here. So it just made sense. It was a no-brainer. So then I enrolled, and
the rest
is history.
Aside from being an SLP, what are you very passionate about?
I'm very passionate about social justice. That's one big thing that I, and not just basic social justice on a grand scale, but I'm also very passionate about in like employment situations where I see other staff or employers not being treated with the respect that they deserve. I really am usually the first person that is going to bat for those people and saying, hey, this isn't right. We need to be treating these people better. I'm very passionate about public education right now because I think we have a serious problem with public education, how it's being delivered, and how it's not being funded properly. And then I'm really passionate about Five Guys. I eat there all the time. It's delicious.
That's how I feel about Chick-fil-A right now.
See, I've eaten at Chick-fil-A twice, and I don't get it. But hey, that's me,
I still feel like I'm fairly new to the St. Louis area. What are your favorite things about St. Louis?
Gosh, toasted ravioli, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot agree that St. Louis style pizza is that great.
I don't want to say if I'm there or not.
But honestly, coming from having grown up in Illinois, our pizza was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I totally enjoy it. But when I want that kind of pizza, it's a craving that I have to want to eat St. Louis style pizza.
If you were stranded on an island, what 3 books would you bring?
Oh my gosh, I would bring The Sword of Shannara, The Elfstones of Shannara, and the Wish Song of Shannara. It's a series of 3 books. They're fantasy books. When I was a teenager in school, I found the first book and started reading it, and it really, really, it gave me a place to escape during times when life just seemed to be too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I just absolutely love those books. Written by Terry Brooks, by the way, if anyone's interested.
I should look into those. What shows are you watching right now?
I'm watching American Horror Story 1984, and RuPaul's Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race UK. If we're talking web series,
that's a great web
with
series.
Trixie Mattel and Katya Zamolodchikova. But that's pretty much it. I don't watch a lot of shorter stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's as I get older, my attention span shrinks. I don't know why.
I'm trying to read more books versus watching TV, but sometimes I just need a new show.
That's true.
And finally, I know your quote that you had on your spotlight on our page, amazing. Can you give us another one of your favorite quotes?
Yes, but I'm gonna have to look it up on my phone because it's a long quote, and I want to do it justice. So it comes from one of my favorite bands, Florence and the Machine.
Oh.
And the reason why I love this quote so much is every time I hear the song, I think about individuals who have speech and communication problems. And so the quote is, "But with all my education, I can't seem to commend it, and the words are all escaping me and coming back all damaged. And I would put them back in poetry if I only knew how. I can't seem to understand it, and I would give all this and heaven too. I would give it all, if only for a moment, that I could just understand."
Wow.
Every time I hear that song, I think of pretty much every client I've ever worked with, because it really sums up what you're trying to do as a speech language pathologist.
Wow. And what a way to end our conversation. I have to get going, but
All right. I'll see you later.
Thanks for chatting.
No problem.
See you later.